Episode 13. Potions, Monsters, and Myths. Yeah, that's me, Klein Moretti. Klein was surprised that the young woman knew his name.
The captain is expecting you.
She stood up and gestured toward the corridor. The captain? Huh. Dunn seems to be a bigger deal than I realized. She took off down the hallway, chatting on the move.
The captain is on duty at the Chanis Gate today and can't step away, but you can speak with him there.
Klein jogged to catch up. Chanis Gate? What the hell is that? The long stone corridor housed a few offices on either side, some with doors open, revealing people typing away on large mechanical typewriters. The young woman opened one of the doors to their left. Klein expected to arrive at their destination, but instead, he saw nothing but a set of steep stairs extending down.
It's just a few flights down.
Klein's eyes widened. A few flights? How big is this place? The stairwell was made of hard gray stone and lit on both sides by gas lamps. It reminded Klein of a dungeon.
Roseanne!
Her voice echoed off the walls. I'm sorry? Klein felt like he was always going to be a few steps behind with this one. She smiled over her shoulder.
My name is Roseanne. I forgot to introduce myself.
Oh. Klein wasn't sure why she was choosing this moment to become better acquainted, but he kept the conversation going. Are you a Beyonder?
No, not yet.
Sadness crept into her voice.
My father was an official member of the Nighthawks. 5 years ago he died, sacrificing himself for the cause. That's when I joined. I was only 17 then.
Off. Klein felt for her. She put on a brave face.
I just handle small administrative duties right now, but I hope one day I'll have the honor of becoming an official Nighthawk, just like Dad. If the captain approves, I mean.
The air around them turned cold and damp as they descended. We have to be underground by now. Roseanne seemed to sense Klein's trepidation.
Almost there, Mr. Moretti. Sometimes I forget. Not everyone's used to this place.
They reached the bottom step, and Klein peered down the shadowy hallway. He could only see what was lit by gas lamps, but beyond their glow, he saw nothing but darkness.
Roseanne chuckled. I guess it's not a typical office.
Klein marveled, to say the least. As they came to a crossroads, Roseanne explained,
To the left is the Church of St. Selena. If you go right, you'll reach the archives. But we're not going that way. We're going straight ahead to the Chanis Gate to see Dunn, like I said.
Klein found Roseanne's idle chatter amusing. I think she likes to talk. After trudging a bit further, Klein could finally see the end of the corridor. A massive wrought iron door stood at the center with several emblems engraved upon it. Klein recognized a symbol of the goddess of the night, deep black at the base, surrounded by a half-crimson moon. Klein was overwhelmed by the gate's magnitude as they approached. It felt heavy and cold, as if it was the only thing standing between him and the dark unknown. Roseanne gestured for Klein to continue through.
The captain's inside. Good luck, Mr. Moretti.
She waved and began the long journey back to her post, almost instantly disappearing into the darkness. Klein startled as the mammoth door slowly opened on its own. He entered to find a smaller corridor with a few offices, but only one of them had its light on. Here we go. Klein took a breath and knocked. It's open. Klein entered to find Dunn leisurely reading a newspaper. He folded it up and tossed it on the table in front of him. Klein, I assume you're not here just to say hello? Klein sat down in the chair opposite Dunn, serious. I'm in. I want to join. A grin crept over Dunn's face. You made the right decision. He opened a drawer under the table and pulled out a document, already prepared. He slid it to Klein. Are you ready to sign your life away? Klein chuckled nervously. Excuse me? He tapped the pages. Your contract. Klein examined it carefully. It was simple enough to understand, and Dunn had already filled it out for Klein's role. Most of the clauses were expected. 5-year contract, a weekly salary of £2.10 solely, but it focused mainly on the confidentiality clause, with serious consequences for those who didn't keep quiet. Trials and punishments. The image of Dunn dragging his thumb across his neck flashed in Klein's mind. Dunn cocked his head. Everything all right? Klein kept his eyes on the paper. Yes, fine. Then sign it. Dunn slid a pen across the table. Klein hesitated. Damn, this is all happening so fast. But he had already made his decision. This is what he wanted. He signed his name. Dunn leaped to his feet in excitement. Welcome to the department, Klein. Klein stood too, following his lead. Thank you, Captain. Dunn nodded. I like the sound of that. Klein felt a wave of relief wash over him. I have a job. It's real. Dunn clapped his hands together. So, any questions? About 1 million. Klein didn't know where to start. Dunn laughed. Ask away. Blackthorn Security Company. Is that some sort of front? Dunn pulled another piece of paper from his drawer and placed it on the table in front of Klein, who read it aloud. Ahawa County Police Department of the Kingdom of Loan, Special Operations Department. Dunn shrugged. We have several aliases under which we operate. Blackthorn is one of them. This is another. Klein thought about their first meeting. So that's how you showed up to my place as a police officer. Exactly. Dunn returned the document to its home. Klein considered. What if someone tries to hire Blackthorn for security? If we have an agent available, we take the job and get the department some extra cash. But we mostly focus on our real purpose, protecting Tingen City from supernatural threats. Okay. Klein tried to wrap his head around it. So then, how many Nighthawks are there in Tingen City? Including me, you, and the civilian staff? Dunn counted on his fingers. 6. There aren't many supernatural events here, and there are even fewer extraordinary people. Klein's eyes widened. That's exclusive. Dunn looked proud. Yes, it is. Ambition flashed in Klein's eyes. When can I become a Beyonder? Dunn waved him off. 3 years is the typical requirement before anyone can consume their first potion. Your first lesson will be in patience. Well, shit. Klein felt deflated. 3 years? It's dangerous. And you just learned we existed yesterday. Dunn shook his head. And it's not all it's cracked up to be in the early days. Sure, a beginner has special abilities, but they're not as powerful as they feel. And in a fight between a new Beyonder and a bullet, the bullet will win every time. It's why you need time to learn how all this works. Klein frowned. Not really the answer I was looking for. He couldn't hide his eagerness. How do I get more powerful? How did you get to be as powerful as you are? Dunn held his hands up. Slow down, Klein. We haven't even addressed pathways yet. Pathways? Dunn took a deep breath. There are 9 sequences that make up pathways. The sequences are numbered from 9 down to 0, and Beyonders must follow them in order to gain their powers. We learned all about the pathways from the Blasphemy Slate, an ancient tablet uncovered in the Dark Epoch. Klein was intrigued. And how long does it take to complete all 9 sequences? Dunn leaned forward, serious. Listen, Klein. This is a delicate process that can't be rushed and must be followed exactly. Some of the most powerful Beyonders I know are no higher than a sequence 7. It's not about completing pathways. It's about harnessing your abilities. But don't they want to become even more powerful? We don't always have access to full pathways. We get what we can find, but full pathways are controlled by the 7 major churches, each of which has at least one complete pathway, and they keep them under strict protection. Dunn could see that Klein wasn't happy with his answer. A full pathway might sound enticing, but this process comes with serious risk, Klein. If you drink a sequence potion out of order, skip a step, or take on more than you can handle, you risk falling into madness and evil. Klein's mind was reeling. It was a lot to take in. So, when you mentioned earlier that Beyonders sometimes lose control, is that what you meant? Dunn let out a sigh. He knew he'd have to address this eventually. Are you familiar with the creation myth, Klein? Klein stared. That's a hard left turn. But he went with it. I remember reading about it in school. So, you know that all things are born from the same origin. Klein nodded. Sure. Dunn rested his hands on the table. Human beings were born from the wisdom of the Creator. That's why we have such extraordinary brains, but no magical powers. Creatures that do possess such powers, elves, dragons, serpents, even evil beings like demons and spirits, they lack the wisdom that we humans have. But they were still created from the same gods that we were. Dunn looked to Klein to make sure he was following. The creation myth posits that because humans and magical beasts are derived from the same origin, we are able to obtain their powers. Now Klein was lost. But how? By distilling them into potions and drinking them. These are the very same sequence potions that we Beyonders consume on our pathways. Klein blinked. Oh, my goddess. His head was spinning and Dunn wasn't even finished yet. However, when humans gain powers that weren't meant for us, we open ourselves up to potential dangers, especially of the mind. There are 3 ways a Beyonder can lose control. All of them tragic. Dunn paused, and Klein urged him forward. Go on. In the first, the spirit dies, and the body morphs into a horrific monster. I told you about that one. Dunn shuddered. Or, second, the power contained in the potion cost the Beyonder their humanity. They seem almost like themselves, only they're cold, cruel, unfeeling. Or, third. Dunn hesitated. Klein leaned closer. Tell me. Third, well, they lose their mind. They stay in human form, but they become evil. They lose their ability for rational thought and reason. They can't control their impulses. They're lost. Klein took a moment to absorb this terrifying information. What can I do to prevent it? Dunn shrugged. Archbishop Chanis, the founder of the modern Nighthawk system, once said, "We are guardians, but also a bunch of miserable wretches who are constantly fighting against threats and madness." Klein looked down at the contract in his hand. The signed contract. Well then, bring on the threats and madness because there's no turning back now. So what do I do next? Dunn smirked. Get to work, I suppose. Your first assignment as a Nighthawk is to solve the mysterious death of a man in Tingen City. What man? Klein Moretti.